Hello everyone, it's Lottie from Cancer is a Lifestyle. This is day 3, I believe, of my nesting day. And I'm kind of like really bumming around this day. I am hardly doing much work. It's kind of slow motion, but that's okay. It's also about relaxing, right? So I am almost done with that closet. It's looking really good. But I found all these goodies in there. Have you guys done that when you kind of try to organize and clean up and you find a bunch of goodies that you didn't even know you had? Like this picture of, I'm trying to get the glare, of my brothers and I with my mom. And oops, the glare. And I'm like, look how skinny I was. And I'm like, why is this not hanging on the wall? So, dusted it off and I'm going to be hanging it on the wall. Somewhere in here. Then I found a whole bunch of my puzzle books. I will tell you, this is probably one of the number one things I get when I would have chemo treatments. Every time my cancer came back, people would love to give me puzzles and all. And I have a whole bunch of them and I loved them. Because besides crocheting, sometimes you just don't want to crochet anymore and you want to maybe read a book or work on some puzzles. And I happen to love the ones that are the variety. So I can have, do all kinds of puzzles together. So I found a couple more of these books and I was like really excited about that. And then I found like a whole bunch of these, I don't want to say little postcards, but bookmarkers and all that, like with devotions and all. This one has Psalm 23 on it. I love things like that. And I have been working on a memory journal this year where I'm kind of keeping things. I'm pasting things like this in, or cards from people and things like that, so I can look back on it later on in life. So otherwise, I'm almost done with that. I should finish today. I'm just kind of lazy and I don't want to. I've also been working on a lot of the scarves. I've been making scarves for all the hats that Terry from Nana's Crochet Ideas sent me. But that's not what I wanted to talk about today. But I'm talking about it anyway. So I have been outed by Jane from Scraptastic Yarn. So she just outed me on her last video. So I need to come clean and come out of the closet now that it's out there. She outed me. Yes, I am a binge watcher having a binge watching addiction. So I do. I love to binge watch people's channels. And I love to actually start from the very beginning and just watch all the videos they ever made. I have this thing about them. And a couple months ago, and I know it's a couple months ago, but my time to me is not like what normally is. So I think it's maybe 2 or 3 months ago, but it could be more. Melissa from Crochet in Agreement came out with this challenge, hashtag binge watch challenge, where she went and started binge watching a lot of her subscribers who had their own YouTube channels. And she would do that as a, like people do giveaways and all. For her, she wanted to give back for the fact that they were her loyal subscribers and all, and give them some hours on their videos, and then she would come back and talk about them, kind of shout them out, give you some tidbits about them that she has learned. And sometimes when people have a lot of videos in there, she would just do the playlist, or she would just play it and do her housework, or work. She dyes a lot of yarn now, and while she's doing that, so that would be her way of supporting people. I have been doing this ever since I've been on YouTube. I love binge watching people's channels. And I thought, why not? But let me finish watching I chose 3 that I haven't watched in length and in the entirety. And of course, I got outed out before I finished it. So here are my 3 channels that I have binge watched for the hashtag binge watch challenge. The very first one is, of course, has to be Terry from Nana's Crochet Ideas, because she's my bestie, and I don't want her to be upset with me for not choosing her, even though she won't be, but you know, I'm going to support her first. So let me tell you what I learned about Terry. And it was actually really easy to binge watch all of her channels because I have watched a good portion of them, so there were only a few that I did not see. So I love going back to the very first one and watch them in sequence, the ones that I have not seen. And I'll tell you why. Because one, I feel like you get to learn something about them. And as you watch them in sequence, or at least to me, I feel like it's a story that unfolds. And I learn more and more and more about them as the day goes by. So I love doing that. Also, I like to see people's first videos because of the fact that when we all started, we were all nervous. We were all you know, didn't know what we're doing. And, you know, some of us still struggle with, you know, lighting and things like that and editing. But I will tell you that Terry is the same back then as she is now. And I mean that as a compliment. Her very first video started out exactly like she does every other video here. And peppy and energetic, and it's just, you know, hello, hello, hello. This is Terry from Nana's Crochet Ideas, and it is exactly the same like always. And I thought, look at her. She was full of confidence from day one. Another thing that people question about Terry are those nails. They think they're fake. Now, she spends quite a lot of work on those nails. And if you ever check out her nails are quite beautiful. The latest ones that she had, that she, I want to call painted, but I don't know anything about nails, so sorry if the definitions are wrong. But she has this really beautiful design on her nails for Halloween that I thought was fantastic. So, but yes, those are her real nails. Now, I can say that because in the videos, as I watched from day one onward, you can actually see the nails growing because they were small and they started getting bigger, 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 bigger to now where they are. They're just, she can crochet with those nails, I think. I told her she should try it. Who needs a hook when you got nails like that? I can say that because I am her friend and we love each other. She also has her children guest host for her quite a lot. And she has many, and I mean many, and I'm jealous. That's why I say many. I'm not being derogatory. She has quite a few grandchildren. They're all beautiful. Children are beautiful, period. But hers are really beautiful. And you will see them in her video quite often. She also does a lot of different things that other people would not like to do. Like, she likes to challenge herself and come out. So, like, to me, I feel like she is really known for her temperature blankets. So, if you want to see a different version of a temperature blanket, go check out her videos. She has made several temperature blankets that are for her grandchildren. Each one has their own, and it's all different designs. It's basically, she picks a pattern that she likes and then she turns it into a temperature blanket. And the other thing she does with her blankets that I don't know that many people do is she goes back in time. She does a lot of research and looks back to the year that her grandchild was born in, what the temperatures were like. And that's the temperatures that she puts on the year that grandchild was born. So that's a lot of work, a lot of love from Grandma. So please check out Terry from Nana's Crochet Ideas. I will have their link below. You want to see something a little bit different, I still tell her all the time that she needs to do a make-along with her temperature blanket. And if you want to see that, do a different version of a temperature blanket make-along, comment on her videos and let her know that. And let her get started on some of that creativity. The next one I watched is going to be Jane from Scraptastic Yarn. Now this woman has a lot of videos, and she outed me before I could even come out on the video on my own. But there was a lot of reasons why I wanted to watch Jane from beginning to end. One, she does a lot of charity work, and I also love to do, I also donate and crochet to different charities. But I was really interested in the ones that she was doing. I wanted to see, you know, what she was doing different and what she wasn't doing. You know, I just wanted to know. And let me tell you, I've learned a lot about the charities that she donates to. I think she's a great storyteller, and every one of you have, I know that it's true that watch her, you all say the same thing. I love the fact that in my, you know, that there's so many different things you can donate. Like I had no idea that you can make, you know, colostomy bags, or like, I mean, seriously, the things that she has donated, stress balls, and to autism, and I think even what breast implants that she's crocheted. Like she does so many things, or repast gowns for miscarriages and all. I mean, it's just amazing when I was listening to her, all the different things. And here we think that we can only donate used clothing, or hats and scarves and you know, lap gowns. This woman has donated things that didn't even enter my head. There is a need for that, is what I mean. So I really enjoyed hearing all of these things, all the different places that she's donated to. Really kind of opened up a lot of areas that I never even considered in my own charity. And then I really loved hearing about all the trips that she's gone to on her senior centers. Now let me tell you, since I binge watched her channel, I have been on the lookout for my own mill haul firehouse. I have been looking for my own skeins and scraps, scraps. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Skeins and Scraps store, which I finally found one similar to hers. And I have been on the lookout for my own senior center, and like, because I want to go do all these things. I want to go and participate in that, and her sewing class, and her embroidery class, and her quilting class. I love all that. That's fantastic. To me, Jane is living the life that I have always wanted to live. So that's why I enjoy watching her channel. So her link will be down below, but who doesn't watch Jane? Everybody watches Jane. My third one is, because she changed her name. It used to be Nyth, and Nyth is Welsh for nest. And this is a different kind. It's not the crocheting community. I binge watch a lot of channels. I love following channels that have nothing to do with crochet. I was actually following her long before she ever came on YouTube. I found her, and it's oh my goodness, I can't think of her name right now. It's so terrible. I am totally losing it. But it's Ariel from Nyth, and right now she changed her name to Life in a Tiny House called Nyth. And I followed her originally long before she ever came on YouTube. I found her on Pinterest, actually, where she posted pictures of her tiny house. She lives in a tiny house, and this is like one of those original tiny houses that were from like I don't want to say Timber Crafts, but like one of the very original ones that were out there. And she posted pictures of them on Pinterest, and I just fell in love with that. Her house was the very first tiny house that I fell in love with, and I could not stop watching and learning everything I could about tiny living. That kind of brought me out, you know, like to where I wanted to explore all different venues of tiny living. I am very interested in that kind of a lifestyle, and I have been, that is like a dream of mine, to live in a tiny dwelling. I think I live in a tiny dwelling now because I basically live in this room. You know, it's my bedroom, it's my little mini office, it's like my craft room. Like, I could possibly put a little stove in here and a refrigerator, and you know, and but this is something that I really am looking forward to exploring, and maybe one day even purchasing. I would love to. That is like a dream of mine. So I found her on Pinterest, and then I found on Pinterest that she also has a blog. And so I started reading her blog, and the blog began right when she first started getting her house. So she's been living in that house for about 8 years now, and then she found YouTube. Now I love following her because originally I was really upset with her that she left the blog and went to YouTube to do videos, because for someone who was looking and exploring the options of tiny living, she shared a lot of her ups and downs with it. She shared a lot of the what life is really like in it, not just the glory, you know, glorified versions of it. She shared everything. So I was really into it, like, okay, tell me more. So you have a mold problem. What did you do, you know? And so when she came to YouTube, she just exploded and became big really, really fast. Hold on a second. My kitty wants to, the door is closed and she wants to leave out. So I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Isabella wanted to, oh, you see her tail? She ran out. I didn't know she was in the room with me. But when she came to YouTube, she became really well known, and just, you know, she's up there with the really large channels. And then I believe Copa came along, and she just disappeared for about a year. She did not like all that was going on with that. She felt that she would be targeted because she does a lot of wildlife. She has, you know, a dog, and a lot about her. She was afraid that she would be targeted because that it could be labeled as a, you know, children would want to watch this, you know, as she's hiking and doing all this. And I think she really just didn't like all the changes that were happening where she would be limited. So she disappeared for about a year. And then she has come back now in the spring, where she bought her own land and now is living and trying to build a tiny, you know, homestead on her own property. And she also got married. So, so I started watching her. Now I'm even more interested than ever. I got to see how they moved the tiny house, and now, you know, she's building a chicken coop, and she's doing all the other stuff, like, you know, and it's not all good stuff, you know. Sometimes you just fail, like her garden failed because it has different soil, and she had hardly any crops this year, you know. It's like sometimes it just fails, and she shows it all, and I love that about her. So anyway, here are my 3 channels. I'm babbling on. It's almost 20 minutes. So I love Nyth. I love Ariel. I have been watching her for a long time, since day one, probably the longest I followed anyone. And I think she's in her late 30s maybe. And every time I look at her, I think, well, that's probably the life I should have been living. You know how you know what you want now when you're like 56? So anyway, those are my 3 channels. I do have my next 2 picked out. Both of them have large amounts of videos, so I do not know when I'm going to be able to come back. The third one, I have made up my mind finally as I was doing this video with which one I'm going to do. I like to do 3 channels at once because sometimes, you know, I can go back and forth and watch, you know, a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one. But you can always tell when I'm binge watching your channels, because you will see me post a lot of, you know, I will leave a lot of comments on a lot of your videos, just like Jane figured that out and outed me out. But So yeah, maybe you'll be, I think the largest channel I've ever, the one who had the most videos was Starry Hilder. And I think at that time, and that was at that time, that wasn't even how much she has now, but I think she had like over 880 videos that I was watching. I think that's what the number was. I'm not sure, don't quote me. But she did a lot of videos. She's been on YouTube a long time. I think at least 8-9 years, maybe more. So yeah, that was like the, you know, the longest binge watch I've done. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. I will get back to my closet. Hopefully I can finish this today. And I will see you on the next nesting day. Bye.